It's the sleeping bag I love so much, I've actually bought it twice. It's called the Kelty 16. Today, we're going to review it on The Legend of Teardrop. Let's go.
This is Teardrop, and welcome to New to the Wild.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Teardrop, and this is The Legend of Teardrop. And today, what we are going to do is do a review on my sleeping bag. Now, I've loved this sleeping bag for so long, I've actually bought it twice. It is the Kelty Ignite 16. It's no longer available, though. I want to make this clear before you go out and try to buy it. It's no longer available. When I did purchase it, it was $269, I believe, and it is 2 pounds, 7 ounces. I'm pretty sure, but I'll put the weights and cost right there. But now, this was my first time going with a down bag. I had, as you guys know, when I started the hiking, I was new to the wild. I was completely new. So I came out with Walmart gear originally. But I eventually improved and bought better gear. Now, the Kelty 16 was my first lightweight, well, semi-lightweight, down sleeping bag. The dry down made it easier for it to dry. It didn't hold wetness like I saw some other people's. Now, at least it says that. For me, I will tell you now that once this motherfucker gets wet, which it does, because remember when I did the review on the tent, I told you that I would always get wet at the bottom of my tent or at the end of my tent. Well, unfortunately, a lot of times that would get this wet, the bottom, the edge of my sleeping bag, and it would take a while to dry. While it was in my pack, it would not dry at all, which is normal. And so I would have to hang it up, which a lot of times wasn't possible. I didn't hang around camp like that for it to dry. So a lot of times I would end up miserable due to a wet sleeping bag. But it does come in mummy. However, here's my thing, is that if you're a bigger fella, you can't zip that shit all the way up. And that's just the truth. So I never got to just get in there, which I wouldn't have anyway because I'm kind of claustrophobic. But now the bag itself, it easily crumples up into a smaller compression bag sack if you want to. I never really used one. I just used the one it came with, which was this one. I never really used the compression, a smaller compression bag, which I guess a sack, which I guess I could have. But it's pretty simple. Now, what I like about this, if let's just say there's two of you, and you each have a Kelty, believe it or not, they zip up. They can zip up together, which is really weird. It was a feature I really liked with the sleeping bag. It's one that you can use when you're out there, but it's comfortable. In terms of comfort, altogether comfort, I give it a 10. When it comes to being able to keep me warm, I give it a 10. Because here's the thing, when I first bought this and held it, I said, there is no way that this sleeping bag will keep me warm because I'm a winter hiker. Now, I want you to understand, I've been on top of Blood Mountain when it was minus 17. I have been in the biggest winter storms to ever hit the Appalachian Trail. And I have remained warm every single time with this sleeping bag. Now, I will say this. Once we get down to -0, zero and below wind chill, with any sleeping bag, it's going to become a problem. So to get a liner is always good, something like that. But most of the temperatures you'll see on the Appalachian Trail, there is not a single temperature you'll see that this will not keep you warm in. It just, for me, worked. And I got to the point where I stopped using it as a sleeping bag. What I started doing is literally laying down and using it as a blanket. I would put my feet in the bottom thing right here, and I would just kind of get it in there, and I would use it as a blanket, and for me, as a quilt. And for me, that was actually good enough. It kept me warm. So I don't have anything to compare this with because this literally is my only sleeping bag. I'm sad that it's no longer available. I hope this thing lasts me a while because, well, I guess the feel is kind of out. To be perfectly honest, this thing is now 2 years old, maybe 2 years old, and with it having duck feathers in there, down feathers, obviously a lot of times they will start to come out. And I did notice that on my 2017 hike. It is probably time to get a new one. But when you look at how you judge a sleeping bag, the weight. Okay, the weight may be a little much. That's up to you. It's 2.7. The comfort, to me, is a 10. The warmth is a 10. And for me, that's what I look for in a sleeping bag. I think I'm not going to buy a sleeping bag anymore. I think I may go with a quilt next time just because I don't like to wrap myself up anyway. I like to just kind of cover up. You know what I mean? I think, so maybe, especially if I go hammocking, a quilt may be the way to go. But, Kelty, you did a great job. I think Kelty, in my opinion, makes the best sleeping bag so far. Granted, you may say, well, you haven't tried nothing else, and that's a fair statement. But to me, Kelty's, they're so not only reliable, but they are heavy duty in terms of this thing has been through everything. This thing has been through mile after mile. It's been on the Florida Trail. It's been on the Appalachian Trail. It's been through rainstorms, snowstorms, everything. And I feel warm every time I use it. That's just the truth. So I would recommend Kelty as a brand. And they don't pay me. They're not a sponsor of mine. But I cannot see myself liking another sleeping bag better than I like this. Because to me, this was perfect. Just being honest, to me, it was perfect. So that's kind of my review. There's not a whole lot you can do to review a sleeping bag, but I guess that's pretty much it. Anyway, so I give the sleeping bag a 10 out of 10. Until I see something better, man, for me, it's the best sleeping bag I can have. And believe me, even though it's the only one I'd had, if it was shitty at all, I would tell y'all. Y'all know that. I'm out of here. Teardrop. Peace out. Oh, and P.S. The clothes that you saw over there, sorry, I just got my clothes out the washer. And I still have to fold them. It is what it is. Deal with it.
Bye, bitches.